Hello there, and welcome back to TerraFirmaCraft. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We are about to do a couple upgrades, so let's get some of this stuff taken care of. We need to make an absolute ton of these energy tablets. And I need to toss them in here. We need to make 4 of these basic energy cubes. Then we take one over here. Put it there, along with 2 of those, to make an advanced energy cube. Now, the reason we're doing all this is we're going to be making the advanced induction cell, which means we need to make 3 more of these basic induction cells. That's what these other 3 are for. We also need our lithium from there, and even more of these. There we go. 3 induction cells, well, 3 basic induction cells, 1 advanced induction cell. We need, sorry, not induction cell, advanced energy cube. We need these tablets on us, and 1 more of the basic induction cells, which is in our induction cell over here, or matrix over here. So we need to crack this open, and hopefully not lose all that power. Mechanism has been pretty good so far in that you don't lose access to the power when you break stuff, but it is still a little bit of still a little concerning. It's a lot of power that we might lose if this doesn't work. But we want that. Put that down. Make that. And then put that down there. Rebuild this. I need... Good. It maintained its power. That's awesome. Now it holds 25 billion as opposed to the 3.2 billion it used to hold. So that's a good upgrade. We need to switch this to energy and then switch that to output. Yes. Okay. So there we go. We've upgraded our induction cell, induction matrix. Now it holds all the power. Not literally, but a whole lot more than it used to. And now we get to run back to the base because I forgot the other half of what I meant to grab. We need this rotor, these blades, and these turbine casings. We're upgrading our turbine. And yes, I'm using the create jetpack for now because we need to make the locomotive boosting units to speed up our movement. Unfortunately, that's going to require a bunch of black steel, so that's just going to be on the back burner for the time being. Now, to upgrade the turbine here, we don't have to do all that much. We're going to place these on top. Gonna break off all of these on the inside. These are all moving up a block, as is everything below us. And because we are only upgrading the turbine to be 4 turbines, we do not need to make another electromagnetic coil, since the one coil can supply work with up to 4 turbines. So we're going to be good on that regard. But this should allow us to produce more power when we're getting steam from the reactor. We were producing 5.7 thousand per tick. This should increase it to... You know, I'm not sure how high. We want these on that level. It might be a matter of just literally doubling the power, which would be great. There we go. That's good. And we just need to grab a few of these. Toss that in there. That kicks on. Our turbine is running. and it's now producing 11,400 per tick. So it is literally producing double the power that it was before. So that's awesome. Now we have a much more efficient reactor, much more efficient turbine. We're going to be producing a lot more power, which is going to be good when we eventually get that up and running. Which is still a little ways away, but this means that I don't have to worry about, well, energy production. I don't need to worry about energy storage anymore. And we can leave this running for a while so we can produce all the polonium we need, because we still need quite a lot. Now, we're not yet upgrading the reactor. I'm not really going to worry about it too much. We do produce enough polonium. It's fast enough that's more than 1 a second. It's going to be fine. Especially since we got other stuff to do. We can leave that running and not have to worry about it too much. Speaking of other things too, I got to figure out what I'm doing next. I still haven't built a oil production system yet. I do have just about everything ready. I just haven't set it up because we need the Distillation Tower to go so we can start making the gasoline and the napalm to make the rocket fuel. Once we get the component, which is going to require the antimatter, so we're still a ways away from that. We can start prepping this, but we can't make the antimatter pellets yet. So maybe that's something we'll work on while we wait for all the polonium to come in to make the SPSs. I was mentioning upgrades though. We need to make the locomotive upgrade. This boosts our speed. And it does apparently work with the jetpack. So that's good, but it's going to take the black steel greaves, which are 6 ingots of black steel. If we're going to want 1 on each piece, and I think it says stackable to 4. Oh, it only goes on the legs. Okay, so that's a bit cheaper than I thought, but that's still going to require 24 black steel. Not too bad. Making a Geiger counter would be nice, because then we don't have to pull out the Geiger counter. We can make a dosimeter. Again, that'd be nice because that'll show us how much radiation we've been exposed to. No guesswork. But then we also can make these radiation shielding units. 1 for each piece. Lead, HDPE sheets. It's not that bad. It just adds up over time. And we can add all these to our mech suit using the upgrade bench. And then I did see this here, a vision enhancement unit. It gives us night vision, especially when we have all 4 stacked on it. This is also fairly cheap, though it does take more polonium. And that way I won't have to worry about making sure I sleep so that the sun is up while showing clips, because it does get quite dark. Otherwise, yep, I think I should probably make the locomotive upgrades my next target. Makes moving around a bit faster, and then I can also finally switch out from the jetpack, the andesite jetpack, and just use the Mek jetpack. Did you know crude oil spawns in the nether? Yeah, I brought a bit of it back with me. So, I mean, we still have to set up the distillation tower. I need to process all the steel pretty much, but that's cool that we can gather crude oil from the nether and bring it into the overworld if we want. I mean, I know there is a crude oil chunk somewhere over here. I marked it on the map. Whatever, it's in the area. But we can pipe in crude oil from the nether. That's pretty cool. Something that was pointed out to me, and I had completely forgotten this was a feature last episode. But if you put a lever next to the seared faucets, you can automate the output of whatever's in the tanks. And so if I had enough in here, you know, let's toss a few more in just to show you what happens. Yep, it automatically pours out. So you can automate the process even with the melter instead of the smeltery. So that's good to know. It allows you to actually walk away and not have to sit there and constantly click to make sure you get the project done. And just to show you, I do have a hopper back here. So I have a hopper that leads in. So anything I put into there will go into here. And you can always put a chest on top of this. If you really want to process a lot of stuff, you just we'll have to make sure you top off the tank. And then by putting a hopper underneath your casting basin or your casting table, it will automatically pull out and then into another inventory, in this case, another chest. So that does automate the process a bit, makes it a bit easier on you. So what I'm doing right now is I'm making some upgrades. We have a speed upgrade and we have a energy upgrade. These are for the mechanism blocks, the factory blocks, the production blocks. We're going to apply these to our centrifuge so it produce energy a bit quicker, or produce fissile fuel a bit quicker. We're also going to make 4 of these singularity tanks. So it's clear glass pane. Wow, I'm getting tongue-tied. And some black steel rods. And now I can't move. And if I toss those in here along with 4 double black steel sheets, we can turn this into a jumbo tank. 1,024 buckets storage space. And we can move with that one. So we're going to take that into Nether and see about setting up a way to pump the crude oil into that. We are going to set up a pump somewhere around here also, but that's just an additional way to get the crude oil that I'm going to want and need. So now, come over to our isotropic centrifuge. It's full up on the uranium hexafluoride, but it only produces 1 millibucket of fissile fuel per tick. Per tick or per second? Per tick, which is how much the reactor uses. So it produces exactly how much we need the reactor running at full power with 1 assembly in it. I want to apply some upgrades so that it runs faster. So we can apply a speed upgrade and an energy upgrade. The energy upgrade will allow it to store more energy and also increase its efficiency. So right now we use 80 FE per tick and it stores 32,000 FE. We apply that. It now holds 42,000 FE and uses 60 FE per tick. And then if we take a speed upgrade, this will make the machine run faster, but it should use more energy. Yeah, now we're using 213 FE per tick. But we should be producing, yes, a lot more fissile fuel. Or at least we're storing it a lot more. So we will be able to pump fuel out of here quicker, fill up the tank, and fill up all these pipes with fuel. And that way I'm not just, as this runs out, I can actually have a surplus, which is nice because right now what I've been doing is I've just been refilling this as this runs out. Now I can, like I said, have a surplus. All right, do that, and that's our last SPS port. So now we just need to make 60 more of the SPS casings and we will be ready to, well, replace the sandstone on that and have the SPS running, which means we'll be able to start making the antimatter. We of course do need polonium, liquid polonium or gas polonium, not the polonium pellets, to make the antimatter. Yeah, so we're going to need to store up a bunch of polonium, but yeah, we're getting much closer. I haven't had to really do this too much with Mechanism, but did you know you can upgrade the machines? So we have these different tier upgrades: Basic, Advanced, Elite, and Ultimate. Basic takes basic control circuits, Elite takes advanced. Advanced takes advanced and infused alloy. Elite takes elite control circuits and reinforced. And then Ultimate takes ultimate and atomic. So we're just going to make one of these and we're going to give it to our enrichment chamber. That's what we're using to make the uranium. So we just click it on, shift click it on. And now if we do auto sort on, it will, with the basic, gives you 3 instead of 1. With the advanced, it'll be 5. Elite would be 7. And ultimate would be 9, I believe. And yeah, it runs multiple production lines in parallel. I don't think every machine can be upgraded, but the enrichment chamber, the crusher, pretty much most of the production items can. And as you can see, this way you can do a lot more in one go. Actually, that's all. Oops, getting a little stutter. I've been playing for a few hours. That's all of our uranium in here. I toss those in and toss that in there. I can just pull that. And there we go. Now we can just process our uranium a bit faster. It does take more... I was going to say it does take more energy. Unless this was only taking 20, which it could have been. That's probably the case. Each run would take more. So if I put in the elite, this would probably be taking 100. So it does take more energy, but you get more done quicker. Oh, but I do want to point out, now that we have the upgraded turbine, again, we added 1 extra rotor with 2 extra blades and, what was it, 16 more blocks to make it a little taller. We have pretty much doubled our energy capacity today. In the time I've been recording, which admittedly has been about 10 hours, we have almost doubled the amount of energy we've stored up. So yeah, it's a big difference between just having 1 rotor and 2 blades and having 2 rotors and 4 blades. All right, so I didn't get done today what I had intended to do. After going out for my run, we had the maintenance people come by and they were mowing the lawn. And I bet you guys don't want to hear a leaf blower in your ear the entire time instead of me. Granted, I don't think you want to hear me in your ear all the time either, so you know what's the difference. Anyway, we're going to be building the installation tower, the distillation tower, so we can start converting the crude oil, some of which I just got from the nether, into the components we need to make the rocket fuel. And while we're building this tower, I've got a new workout I'm doing. You might laugh at this. I got the idea actually from Green, from the HardRock server. Going to do push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, and bicycle kicks. He's doing push-ups, and what he's doing is 1 additional push-up every day. So if on Monday he did 25, on Tuesday he'd do 26, Wednesday 27, so on and so forth. I started with 20 crunches and sit-ups, but 5 push-ups because, you know, my shoulder's still messed up. I didn't even think I'd be able to do 5. I'm up to 12 push-ups now, which is awesome and extremely painful. So yay, more fun. Okay, so I figured out why this wasn't working. If we look at the distillation tower, it says steel scaffolding slab. If you look at the image, you see these slabs. I have steel scaffolding slabs, but you see there are 2 different textures. There's the type I have, which looks like that, and then there's that texture, which, you know what, it'd be easiest if I just do it in creative mode to show you. Looks like that. That is what we need, not those. So using those on this will not work. So we need to first off destroy those. Pick up this, go back over to my base, convert these back into steel scaffolding, which we can do by putting them in the pressure chamber, turn them back into scaffolding, and then take this scaffolding and just put it in our crafting grid to convert it over to the other scaffolding with the other texture, and then saw it in half again to get back to this texture. And then the distillation tower should work. Okay, the scaffolding is done. It now has the incorrect texture. So let's go over here, grab my saw. I said grab my saw, thank you. We just need to put it into our crafting grid, and that converts it into that texture, which is the one we want. We then put it back in the crafting grid with our saw again, turn it into the slabs, and now we should hopefully be able to get the distillation tower done. I'm a little surprised the slabs aren't interchangeable, because I honestly was looking at it for a solid 5 minutes before I figured out why this wasn't working. You wouldn't think that, you know, hey, I made the item called a steel slab like it says, why is it not working? Oh, well, there's 3 different versions of the steel slab, all with the same name, with only a slight texture difference. And, they're not interchangeable. There we go. So, Distillation Tower is now built. We can put fuel in here. We need to provide it power, of course, and then it will start producing the different things: lubricant, sulfurized diesel, kerosene, and naphtha. And the kerosene we will then convert over into more diesel, gasoline additive, and more naphtha. And we combine the naphtha with the gasoline additive, again, tongue-tied, and that makes gasoline, which we then combine with napalm to make the rocket fuel. To make the napalm, we need gasoline and aluminum grit, and the aluminum grit we just get by crushing aluminum, either ingots or raw bauxite. So I didn't bring everything, but I brought some of what I needed. You can put one of these there. I have that. Do that. And grab our torch so we can see. Go into here. We don't want to hook up to that one. I have another cable right over there. Okay, now this, yep, has full power. Let's grab the crude oil that I have from the nether right over here. Don't have much, 90 buckets, but it's something. We can put a little bit in and see what happens. I've never used this, the immersive petroleum, so learning. Oh, that was near instantaneous. But we have some naphtha on top, some kerosene, some sulfurized diesel. How are we supposed to separate them out? I mean, that's a silly question. I'm sure there is a... Oh, and it output the bituminous. Okay, we can turn the bituminous with the coker into pet coke. And that's just another version of coke. We wouldn't need to use the coke oven to make the coke. But that means I should grab a chest so I can automatically output that and not have it despawn on me. There we go. But then there should also be a fluid output somewhere. Probably right there. All right. And... oh, okay. Right now it's lubricant. Ah, okay. So right now it wants to output the lubricant, and the rest of it is in this hopper here. And when I pull out the lubricant, they'll probably pull out the next thing in line, which will probably be the sulfurized diesel. So if I put more in, Yes. Okay. And then I could probably run a fluid output, whatever. I could probably use the mechanism pipes and have them run one over to a barrel specifically for the naphtha, one for the diesel, one for the kerosene, and that way it'll automatically output. Could use a tank like this too. Ooh, you know what? That might be a better idea. If I make more of these singularity tanks, they are not expensive. They hold 32 buckets. We can have them lined up over here and just have the the fluids output directly into a line of them, and then we can pick up and move them as we need them. Can I put this in here? I cannot. Okay. I can take a barrel though. By the way, if I put a barrel right there, would that work? That does not work. Now I should have a... Okay, well I can't do that either. Oh, it doesn't... It does not like the crude oil. I cannot put the crude oil into the barrel. Oh, would I be able to use the... You know what? I probably have to use the immersive engineering barrels. This one. Okay, well, we can put... We can't click that to pick up the fluid, but we can put the fluid directly into there, and then can we put this in here? No. That's disappointing. We can do that. Okay. And let's see... Well, I'm just going to keep running back and forth while I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, so that doesn't like those barrels either. But would this barrel accept it? So put it underneath it. That worked. Okay, so we need to feed it in from the top or the bottom. Oh, wait. No, that doesn't work. Okay, well, we're learning things here. Not very, not very efficiently, but we're learning a little bit. So I'm going to make up a bunch more of these wooden barrels from immersive engineering, but that should allow us to transfer the fuel or the different fluids out of the tank and into the barrels, and then we can swap out the barrels. One last thing I want to test. Can I put this directly on top of there? Yes, but it doesn't drain. Okay. That's unfortunate. Well, I guess we're going to need to make, like I said, some of these singularity tanks so I can transfer the fluids into them. I don't necessarily want to, but we can also make the fluid tanks from immersive engineering here, but that is a lot of iron just to store fluid. I'm less inclined to do it, although it does look kind of cool. Because then we'd have to run pipes everywhere for it too. Alright, well, I've got a few things to work on and figure out. Until next time, thank you for joining me today. Thank you to my channel members for your support. I hope you've all had a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Later.